3 Blackfire Torch users in Brand, Taliyah, and Karthus are all being nerfed for 14.13. Do you guys agree with this approach, or do you think Riot should just be nerfing Blackfire instead? And remember, if you're struggling to climb in League, Skill Capped is the only place that guarantees you're going to climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. Otherwise, you can claim a full refund. Now, we do this because our service really works, and this is the best time of the season to get in on Skill Capped, as we've just released tons of site-exclusive courses designed for you to power learn the most important concepts for climbing in League of Legends stupidly fast compared to those who don't use Skill Cap. Join today for unlimited access to the world's most famously effective League of Legends guides, and remember, one subscription gives you access to all of our other games as well. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to stop wasting time being hard stuck and get the rank you always wanted. And with that said, let's get into it. Well, we've got some pretty massive adjustments to runes for this patch, as Dark Harvest and Electrocute are receiving changes. Dark Harvest will have its cooldown lowered from 45 to 40 seconds, while its damage is going to be changed from 20 scaling to 80 to just 20 flat. However, you're now going to gain 9 bonus damage per stack instead of 5. So Riot's really kind of leaning into the stacking element of Dark Harvest here, which could lead to the rune becoming pretty strong on poke champs that can consistently proc the rune off cooldown. Especially now that First Strike's been nerfed, we're going to have to track how this new Dark Harvest fares on champs like Lux, Vel'Koz, Xerath, Brand, and Xayah. Electrocute is just being flat out buffed in the early game for 14.13, with its damage going from 30 scaling to 220 to 50 scaling to 190. So it looks like Riot really wants to lean in on the identity of each keystone rune. Electro is now going to be that clear-cut go-to early game option if you're looking to play aggressive. The cooldown of Electrocute is being lowered as well, going from 25 scaling to 20 seconds to a flat 20 seconds. Opportunity's been one of the strongest lethality items for a while now, so it's finally being tagged with some nerfs. The passive lethality is going from 5 scaling to 11 down to 3 scaling to 6, but for ranged champions only, as the melee value will stay the same. Decaying movement speed from the passive is being increased for both ranged and melee, going from 150 to 200. Gangplank has been struggling ever since the 14.10 item changes, so he's getting some buffs for 14.13. E-Slow is being changed so that it no longer has crit scaling, but its base value is going to be higher now. Riot's going to be boosting Graves' dueling strength against physical damage champions for next patch, as his E-armor per stack is going to be increased from 2 scaling to 14 to 4 scaling to 16. Lee is going to have his early game and late game buffed a bit for this patch, as his health growth is going up from 105 to 108, while his W shield value is being increased by 20 at rank 1, but it's going to stay the same at max rank. Lissandra has been a bottom percentile mid for quite a while now, so she's going to be buffed with her Q-AP ratio going from 80 to 85%. W cooldown is also buffed, going from 12 scaling to 8 seconds to 10 scaling to 8 seconds. Misfortune had fallen off quite hard in recent patches, so she's receiving a few really nice buffs. Base AD is going up from 52 to 55. W is being buffed in 4 different ways, as the minimum and the maximum movement speed are going up, while the time in which to gain full value out of W after not taking any damage is being reduced. We've had Orianna at the bottom of the mid lane tier list for quite some time now, so she's finally getting a pretty solid buff, as her base AD is going up from 40 to 44. Now, of course, with Ori's passive, she wants to be weaving in autos as much as possible in lane, so this boost in base AD will not only help her ability to farm much easier, but is going to provide some added harass strength as well. Just a very minor buff to Pantheon for next patch, as his W base damage is going to be increased from 50 to 60. Xayah has been dwindling down at the bottom of the ADC tier list for quite some time now, so she's getting 2 buffs for this patch. E cooldown's being reduced by 1 second at each rank, while E damage is going up by 5 at all ranks. 8 different champions are being nerfed for 14.13, and first up, we've got Brand. Passive mana back on kill is being lowered from 30 scaling to 50 to 20 scaling to 40. E damage is being nerfed, but more significantly at the later ranks, as it's going from 60 scaling to 180 to 60 scaling to 160. The Fat Man won't be healing up as much from his passive for next patch, as Riot's lowering the max health heal from 6.5 to 5.5%. Kalista has been a bit of an issue in the pro scene as of late, so even though she's rather underwhelming for solo queue, she's being nerfed for 14.13. Base AD is dropping from 61 to 59. Our cooldown is being increased significantly, going from 150 scaling to 90 seconds to 160 scaling to 120 seconds. W damage to minions is being nerfed, as the minimum damage and execute damage are both getting completely removed. Monster damage cap is going down from 250 scaling to 450 to 100 scaling to 200. Karthus is going to be nerfed once again, as Riot's lowering his Q damage even more, going from 43 scaling to 119 to 40 scaling to 116. Kennen has emerged as one of the better top laners in recent patches, so his early game strength is being toned down, with base health dropping from 611 to 580. Even though Skarner was just nerfed last patch, he's remained a pretty strong champ for both top and jungle, so Riot has another round of nerfs headed his way. Q mana is going up from 30 to 50, so this one's definitely going to hurt the top lane more than jungle, and Q2 max health damage takes a huge hit, going from 15 down to 10%. Some pretty meaningful nerfs to Taliyah jungle's clear speed are going live next patch, as her Q bonus damage to monsters is dropping from 25 down to 10. AP ratio on Q bonus damage is also being completely removed. Zac's passive healing will not be as potent early on in the game, as Riot's changing up how the passive scales. In 14.12, Zac's passive scaled based on his R rank, but now it's going to scale based on his level instead. Varus is receiving a plethora of changes for next patch, as Riot's shifting around the power in his kit. Base AD is dropping from 60 to 57. Attack speed growth is going down from 4 to 3.5%. W on hit damage is going up from 7 scaling to 31 to 7 scaling to 35, so more incentive to max out W with this change here. W cooldown refund is up from 12 to 13%. W plus Q cast lockout is going up from 0.25 to 0.85 seconds. W plus Q missing health damage is now going to scale based on how many ranks you have in W instead of by level, so even more incentive for the W max now. Varus's passive has always provided bonus attack speed in the past, but it's now going to provide less attack speed, but in exchange give you bonus AD and AP. This bonus AD and AP that you get scales off of Varus's attack speed, so it's going to provide more value to on-hit builds. So overall, the main takeaway from these adjustments is that on-hit Varus with W max becomes stronger, while lethality Varus becomes weaker. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in Skill Capped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top-tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcap.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, everyone. A complete look at all the changes that Riot has planned for patch 14.13, which is set to hit live servers June 26th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.